And we're back. Well, Callie finally debuted in Formula 1, the first woman in almost 41 years to do so. And the first thing she did is to boot her teammate out of the race. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention this in the last video, but I love how Natalie Pinkman took a while to realize if Aiden was out of the race or not. I don't know about you, Natalie, but number one, Aiden crashed into the second DRS zone, and number two, his suspension was bent in an unnatural way. That looks like a flatter retirement to me. Oh god, oh my god, that was so stupid. Anyway, we read the news, we read the socials, we read the emails, so off to the next chapter, shall we? Alright. Okay, team interview. Connosport is scheduled to take part in a feature article for a leading motorsport news website. Senior management and the drivers have requested to attend a photo shoot interview after the upcoming Austrian Grand Prix. There is an issue though. Calling is to attend to Davido's attendance. How should we handle this? Support, compromise, or oppose? You know what? I'm going to say compromise. Okay. Your old friend, former F1 driver and current journalist Lucas Weber, has been in touch. He is keen to tell piece on what it takes to be team principal of Formula 1. I know you and Lucas have a good relationship, but the PR department is concerned that your history and friendship is so well known amongst the fans they will think of it as a puff piece and will dismiss it outright. How would you like to proceed? Confirm, decline, and compromise. I'm gonna go for compromise here too. Alright, the news. But... okay.
Andrea?
You seen this latest article doing the rounds today? 3 weeks later and the press are still going with narrative of the rivalry at Connorsport. Still!
They just need an angle for Silverstone. Paid no attention.
But they're right, aren't they? It's not like Callie and Aiden are suddenly treating each other like teammates.
They just need time. It took me a while to warm to Aiden back in the day.
Well, that's because you were a grumpy old man.
Yeah. Well, some things never change, I guess.
Ha! Now you're just grumpier and older. I'll leave you to it. Ciao.
Bye.
Alright, Connosport versus Connosport. Jackson hasn't been shy about his issue with Callie Meyer. Since the incident at Baku, he's only doubled down his comments that the move was deliberate, quote-unquote, and that we need only look at the footage to see what he means. Connosport seemed to have a real issue with managing the personalities of the drivers. Devon Butler was well known for his larger-than-life personality and provocative comments off track, but since leaving Connosport, their driver problems only continued. This has led to speculate that the issue was left with Butler and more with Jackson. Whatever the case, the Connosport rivalry continues, and the home race for both drivers at Silverstone will do little to quell tempers. Is Devon Butler retired? Still a son of Devon Butler, and no word from Connosport or any potential return. Butler also has been uncharacteristically quiet on social media, letting most to presume that he won't race again, which will make him the last race of his career. I mean, he's getting deaf, so I guess that's almost a guaranteed retirement. So Devon Butler fans find themselves in limbo. It doesn't look like Butler will return, but neither has return been formally acknowledged. The F1 world got so upset with the son of Callie Meyer that they never quite acknowledged the loss of one of his biggest personality in Devon Butler. Okay. Although no formal announcement has been made, most fans are working on the assumption provided by Connosport Insider that Butler has an alleged problem with his hearing. The legend of Jim Clark. Oh boy. And as thoughts turn to Silverstone, thought also turns to the legendary drivers and drivers that have graced the former airfield over the years. But one name looms larger than the rest, that of Jim Clark, the Scottish champion who is arguably the greatest British driver of all time. A shy superstar who made headlines on both sides of the Atlantic, we lost Clark ahead of his time when he still had so much to offer the sport and the world in general. And this time in the sport, he won 2 World Drivers' Championship and was also a prolific competitor in the classification. Not bad for a one-time farm man who only raced on the side. Okay, Silverstone from World War II to 2022. Although unlike some of the more modern additions to the F1 calendar, all the tracks are often throwback to a time gone by, where curious locations were retrofitted to become racetracks. Silverstone is perhaps the most famous example. Back in the Second World War, RAF Silverstone was an airbase for the British war effort, specifically training would-be pilots. After the war, it lay disused for some time, before being renovated by locals as a racetrack. In fact, its free-form runways used to lay in the center of the circuit. After more recent developments, they now intersect. It was the first ever F1 race in 1950, and has been an essential part of the sport ever since. From socials, Natalie Pinkham, Arab. Noble, Crofty, more generics, the Devon fan. Okay. As for the emails, there's some stuff focusing the press on the rivalry at Conosport. Anything we to play down the angle in dealer with the media would really help. I'm just not happy with the situation, but it all comes down to Aiden and Kelly's action on and off the track. I'm talking with media outlets offering alternative narratives, and it'd be great if you could play all this down if the media asks. Can you talk to Tolly and Aiden? I don't know how delicate the situation is. Thanks, Elisa. Casper, I think we need to discuss the possibility of telling Aiden and Kelly about the terms of the contract with Davidoff. It might stop the infighting and give us all something to focus on. I know. We agreed to keep it within us, but we can't risk this getting out of hand. You're this paramount right now. You know how much this team means to me. Think about it. And for Mark, morning boss. The full weather report for which is attached. Looks like we're enjoying a nice clean run today. Some close to settling later in the race, but no signs of rain at the moment. Okay. And off to the race.
What is Aiden's problem?
Okay, we'll have a word.
He's been so late into these corners. I have no space out here.
Yeah, we'll talk to him, Kelly.
This is still about Baku, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe. Finishing the top 10, we are 16th. And we need to overtake Aiden in 2 laps. And no cutscene, okay. Now don't let Jackson pass. Into Maggots and Beckett's. Get past Piastri. And Gasly, thanks for the DRS. Past Nick. Okay, you know what, I'll start with the jokes. Past Joe. Jackson fast lap of the race, okay. Here's Nando, there we go. That's both objectives achieved right now. And thanks for the free DRS there, Nando. By the way, I keep forgetting about saying this, but yes, I did hear about the stunt that Brad Pitt pulled at the Grand Prix. Okay. This is like the year of fantasy Formula 1 teams, because we got Conosport here, and then I'm going to guess it's pronounced Apex for that Apple movie. There we go. Now we have the fast lap of the race. Past Tsunoda. Okay, never mind. Okay, there we go. Although, from what I've read, the movie is at a bit of a snag because of the actor strike. In the meantime, that was like a double overtake. Okay, there we go. Ooh, alright then. And past the pole sitter in Hungary. There we go. As for the Brad Pitt movie, I know it's extremely early to say, but fucking imagine if that movie ends up being driven had Stallone not been told to fuck off by Bernie Ecclestone. I mean, you'd have to try really hard to make something as worse as Driven, but still. That's like a... that's still something to... That's still a funny idea. And if you don't know what Driven is, go check out Marshall's Private Guide on the movie. And it's a riot, let me tell ya. Also, a little detail that I forgot to mention in the last video about women in Formula 1. Brabham, the team Joanna Marie raced for, did not finish the year. They closed down early. Not before giving a certain guy called Damon Hill his first Formula 1 start. At age 31. I said enough. Final lap of the race. And speaking of Damon Hill, now I already said this in the last video where I corrected myself in what happened at the 1975 Spanish Grand Prix, where the fatal crash happened with Rolf Stommelen and a bunch of spectators. Stommelen was driving for Graham Hill's team. Graham Hill owned the team until his death. And that should be the end of the chapter.
Get in!
You see, this is just another example of the Connor Sport drivers antagonising each other.
Yeah, but you've got to look at Ackerman as well. He's the one that can sort this situation out so far that he's letting them run wild.
His job is to keep control, and no matter what the season, no matter what the driver, Connor Sport just can't seem to gel as a team. So you've got to ask the question, really, what will it take? The faces on our top three look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
Callie, this is your first ever F1 race at Silverstone in front of the home fans. So just try to put into words what that means to you.
Oh, balls. I'm gonna go for this.
The fans always remind me that motorsport is bigger than the drivers, it's bigger than the teams. It's this whole community of people who come together just to enjoy the sport. And yeah, the home fans are always going to feel special.
Well, I have to say it was tight out there once again between you and Aiden. You're not giving each other much space, are you?
Do I bullshit or do I act or Let's throw a shit at Aiden.
Look, Aiden's got to drive as he sees fit, and he feels the need to put his performance first, and that's his call. It's not like it's the first time we've seen a driver prioritise themselves ahead of the team, is it?
Now, naturally, there has been a lot of speculation about the role of your father, Davidoff Butler, in securing your seat at Connor Sport. Just what do you say to the critics?
No comment.
Any more questions about my father? Ask him about his involvement.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was like the easiest answer ever. Okay, the news, and wait for the call. Okay.
Hi, Mum.
Callie.
I know. I ended the interview. I need to be more patient. Blah, blah, blah.
You need to win the press over, my darling, not make an enemy of them.
Yeah.
Natalie Pinkham, Callie, of all people.
I just get annoyed when people ask me about Dad, that's all.
I know, but she's only doing her job, poor woman.
I'm sure she understands that sometimes people don't like the questions.
She's on your side. You do know that.
This isn't about Natalie Pinkham, Mum.
Well, it is and it isn't.
Look, I will be nicer to her in the future. Happy now?
I just hope you are. Great race today, darling.
Thanks, Mum. I've got stuff to do, okay?
Alright, a team in crisis. Now that we're halfway through the F1 calendar, Ackerman must be asking himself what can he do to hold the team together. Following the rumor that a title sponsor defaulted on a payment early in the season, a rumor swiftly dismissed by Connor Sport, there's been quite chatter around whether or not the team can even survive another season, and this problem is certainly not by the behavior of the team's own drivers. If they're to have any chance of success, they've got to start pulling in the same direction, and Drew Connor will be looking to Ackerman to do something, anything, to unify the team. If anything looks to be permanently fractured, we can't keep dismissing the behavior of its drivers. Is Aaron Jackson happy? Yet more rumors flying around the paddock that Jackson simply isn't happy at Connor Sport, and that the end of the season can't come soon enough. Jackson himself has yet to comment publicly on his future at Connor Sport, and we likely won't hear an official comment from him until the end of the season. But if you believe the paddock gossip, the divide in Connor Sport is real, and Jackson will do whatever it takes to make a break for the Butler family, even if it means abandoning his old friend, Casper Ackerman. Can Mayer handle it? But F1 drivers are going to ask difficult questions. They are the best drivers in the world, compete at the highest levels of motorsport, and as such, sometimes they're going to have to justify their action and answer questions they don't like. This seems to be an issue that rookie Callie Mayer has yet to come to terms with, and for all of those out there who are defending her, the unfortunate truth of the matter is that she did cut her interview with Natalie Pinkham short following the British Grand Prix. And far from shutting down the difficult questions, I'm thirsty she'll now to answer more of them. Okay, the socials. Oh, that's Coulthard. Almost missed them. Bim. Jesse McFadden. Maxime. Maxime again. Okay. Now for the email. Hey Kelly, about the interview today, I don't know pleasant getting questions you don't want to answer, but we really want people to warm to you. It's great for you and it's good for the team. I know how tough it can be though. Let me know if you want more to talk about it. Hey team, just a quick message to remind you all the featured piece that's been written on Connor Sport after Spielberg. This is a story-focused piece, so we need to ask Kelly and Aiden to give up some time and ask questions. It should already be on your calendars. Any questions? Let me know. Please be careful what I say over team rated. The press are hungry for him as well as the on Connor Sport, so it's better if you don't argue publicly. Get race, see you at the meeting, Andrea. And with that, we're gonna end the video here. So, if you liked it, give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe and click the notification bell so you get a little more drops. I have nothing else to say other than see you next video, everybody. This is Alpha, signing out.